Jin BTS house was broken into, but what made all members rush to him without hesitation? The calm order of Seoul's late evening was ruptured by a single alert that no one in the industry expected. A confirmed break-in at the private residence of BTS's eldest member, Jin. The news spread through internal channels with a speed that rivaled the shock itself, raising a singular question that now echoes across fandoms and entertainment circles alike. What compelled all 6 remaining members to abandon their routines and rush to Jin's side without a second's hesitation? Authorities confirmed that an unknown intruder gained access to the perimeter of Jin's home, bypassing a portion of the exterior security system and triggering automatic alarms inside the property. The incident occurred during a quiet hour, amplifying its emotional impact despite the absence of physical harm or major property loss. Yet for BTS, a team built on years of shared burdens, crises, and triumphs, the violation of Jin's sanctuary was not a simple security issue. It was a deeply personal disruption, one that struck a nerve far beyond material damage. Industry insiders report that Jin was informed immediately after the incident was verified, and the effect was instantaneous. His home, historically known among close colleagues as his only uninterrupted refuge, a space where he decompressed, cooked, read, and lived without performance obligations, had been breached. That symbolic loss alone was enough to concern anyone who understood the psychological weight carried by idols of his scale, but what happened next was unprecedented. Within minutes of the internal notice circulating, RM was already en route. His response, described by one source as instinctive leadership, set off a chain of movements among the other members. Suga, finishing a meeting at the time, redirected his schedule without a second thought. J-Hope, only recently returning from personal commitments, arrived shortly after. Jimin and V, who had been working together earlier that evening, traveled to the residence jointly. Jungkook, reportedly in the middle of recording practice, left immediately and was one of the last to arrive only because of distance. Their rush was not prompted by management, nor was it planned for public visibility. No cameras, no stylists, no prepared statements. It was a spontaneous, protective convergence that spoke to a depth of bond rarely seen in global supergroups operating at their level of fame. Once gathered, the members conducted a private walkthrough of the residence alongside staff and security personnel. Though protocol was followed, the focus quickly shifted from logistics to emotional reassurance. According to an individual familiar with the situation, the group didn't huddle around damage, they huddled around Jin. Their presence provided grounding at a moment when the breach of privacy could have easily escalated into psychological distress. As the night progressed, conversations unfolded quietly in the living room. The members encouraged Jin to articulate his concerns, not for public record, but for mutual understanding. Observers noted that the atmosphere evolved from shock to reflection and eventually to unity. The significance of their gathering became less about a criminal intrusion and more about reaffirming Jin's stability amid stress, something each member seemed determined to protect. Experts in entertainment psychology suggest that such immediate solidarity is not merely sentimental, but indicative of the group's long-standing interpersonal framework. For BTS, whose pressures stretch from global fame to military service transitions, shared support is not optional. It is fundamental for survival in an industry that demands emotional endurance. By morning, the tension inside the house had softened. The members remained on site long after the investigation team concluded its work, choosing to stay until Jin expressed comfort with being alone. Their decision raised further intrigue. Why such urgency, such commitment, such instinctive flocking? The answer, as deduced by those closest to them, is simple: because for BTS, a threat to one member is a threat to all. The break-in was not interpreted as a lone security incident, but as a disruption of emotional equilibrium. Their automatic unity was less about protocol and more about loyalty built over a decade of shared trials. While official statements remain minimal and factual, the underlying narrative persists. The moment Jin's safety, physical or emotional, seemed compromised, the members acted with a speed and sincerity that no publicist could manufacture. Their reaction has become the true headline of the event, overshadowing even the incident itself. In the end, the break-in raised a critical question, but delivered an even clearer answer. What made all members rush to Jin without hesitation? A bond that surpasses fame, obligation, and circumstance. One built on trust so deep that a single alert was enough to bring them home to him. The intensity of the members' reaction, the urgency of their arrival, and the emotional weight surrounding Jin's alleged break-in have undeniably fueled massive discussions across online spaces. But now, as the conversation grows louder, a crucial question arises: should we, as an audience, accept this narrative at face value? Or should we pause, examine the sources, and reflect on whether this incident is grounded in verified fact or amplified through the machinery of social media sensationalism? Before moving forward, ask yourself, do you truly believe this event unfolded exactly as described? What evidence convinces you? What details make you doubt? And most importantly, why do stories like this spread so quickly even when their authenticity remains uncertain? The information circulating about the break-in has largely come from platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and smaller online communities, places where dramatic narratives thrive and verification is often secondary. So your next question should be, how much of what we consume online is shaped by algorithms rather than accuracy? Are we reacting to an emergency or reacting to a storyline crafted to evoke emergency? Consider the emotional structure of the story itself. The idea of Jin's home being breached. The image of the members rushing to him without hesitation. The symbolism of unity in crisis. It feels compelling, almost too compelling. So we must ask, is the power of the narrative influencing our belief more than the credibility of the information? And if so, what does that say about our own susceptibility to dramatic content? It is essential to acknowledge that no matter how convincing a narrative appears, we are responsible for distinguishing emotional resonance from factual reliability. Did the videos you saw provide verifiable evidence? Did the posts you read cite authoritative sources? Or did they simply present dramatic claims supported by compelling editing, dramatic narration, and trending hashtags? Reflect on another question. If this entire narrative turned out to be exaggerated or even fabricated, would you feel misled? Or would you feel entertained? This is a provocative but necessary consideration. Many viral stories today are built not on truth, but on the emotional reactions they can generate. So where does this incident fall? Truth? Speculation? Or a blend of both? Let's also challenge the broader issue. Why do stories involving celebrity vulnerability captivate us so intensely? Is it because they humanize someone we see as larger than life? Or because they satisfy a psychological desire to witness closeness, tension, and emotion, even when such narratives may not be fully grounded in reality? Even more importantly, think about how often breaking news in the entertainment world turns out to be based on assumptions, misinterpretations, or dramatized retellings. Are we dealing with the same pattern here? Or is this one of the rare instances where early reports reflect something genuinely alarming? This is why skepticism is not merely helpful, it is necessary. Before embracing any narrative, ask yourself, who benefits from this story? Who created the content, and why? What incentive exists to make the situation appear larger than life?